What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, going to be talking about Bellator 279 in this video. Just a little quick reminder that this is my early prediction video, so I haven't done any research on the card whatsoever. My full card breakdown will be coming out in about 3 days or so later on in the week, and that's when I'm going to have all of my research done. I'm going to be making my final picks. I'm going to be doing a full card breakdown then, a much longer video, much more information to be shared on that video. This is my first time looking at the card, going to be giving my very early predictions and my first kind of look at Bellator 279, also taking place in Hawaii, the second Bellator of the weekend. Like, there's one on Saturday, there's one on Sunday. It's going to be pretty awesome, I think, so looking forward to it. So I think there's one on Friday and then there's one on Saturday. But anyway, moving on. So Sumiko Inaba versus Whittany Pyles. It's a set-up win for Sumiko Inaba to win here in Hawaii. She's from Hawaii. She's 3-0. She has a win over an undefeated girl in Bellator. In fact, her whole career so far in the professional scene has been in Bellator, and she's fighting a girl with a losing record right now. And I think that she's just going to be set up to win inside Bellator here, inside in Hawaii. So I'm going to be going with Inaba to win inside Hawaii, inside her home town, or her home area, I guess you could say. Same sort of situation here, except it's not, because Randi Field versus Maraya Miller, I don't really know anything about these girls whatsoever. Randi Field, though, her only wins are over girls with losing records, and she did lose to Inaba, who is inside this same card. Same sort of situation with Maraya Miller, but she's making her debut. She does have a win over a girl with a winning record, which I guess is like kind of good for her. A lot of people going with Field. I don't know how you could be so confident in Field to win the fight, but I'm gonna be doing my research later, and I can agree, I guess. So Bobby King upset a very good prospect in my opinion. I was very hyped up about Aviv Gonzales, and Bobby King ruined it for me, man. I was really excited for Aviv Gonzales to make some big things go, and unfortunately Bobby King has has disappointed that for me, man. But anyway, this fight's taking place at lightweight, so Keoni Diggs making a move up in a weight class. At one point he was 9-0 with a win over Derek Campos, but then he fought Daniel Wishout and he lost a split decision there. He's going to be moving up, and he's going to be moving up to fight Bobby King here. And Bobby King's got power on the hands, man. He really did put it on Aviv Gonzales and made him retire in the first round, which is pretty crazy. He did lose to Alexander Shabili, so he's a bit of a savage. Win over Nick Newell. Steven Seiler as well on the regional scene. Like, who has Steven Seiler not fought? Steven Seiler's literally fought everyone. Once again, a situation where I don't know too many about these guys, but I do know Bobby King's got power in their hands. But I feel like Diggs might be the more talented fighter, and he will be the successful move up in weight in this one here. Yancy Medeiros, I just realized, man, Yancy Medeiros on this card. He got cut from the UFC after a 4-fight losing streak to Damir Hadjovic, Lando Venata, Gregor Gillespie, and Donald Cerrone. That's a losing streak that has lasted about 4 years. Emmanuel Sanchez on the other hand, has been on a 3-fight losing streak inside Bellator, but he does have like good wins himself recently, I guess you could say. He's been a lot more active. I like Emmanuel Sanchez to win this fight in this one here. I don't think Yancy Medeiros is going to make a successful Bellator debut in this fight here. But it's pretty crazy though, because he is actually from Hawaii. Pretty crazy that Bellator didn't give him like a very easy opponent that he could have definitely beaten. But no, Yancy Medeiros is fighting Emmanuel Sanchez, a pretty live guy to fight in his hometown, I guess you could say, in lightweight here. So it's definitely worth noting. Emmanuel Sanchez moving up a weight class, but I think he's going to probably be good enough to beat Yancy Medeiros. Goiti Yamauchi versus Levan Chokheli. Goiti Yamauchi, has he ever been in a boring fight? No, he's not. 26 wins, he's got 22 finishes, 20 of them are by submission, but he did recently KO Chris Gonzales, who was undefeated at the time, which is pretty crazy. He was meant to fight Derek Anderson, I think, a few weeks ago, and that never really worked out. The fight just didn't quite materialize, I guess, or it never happened. So now we're going to have Levan Chokheli versus Goiti Yamauchi. I'm going with Goiti Yamauchi by submission. This guy is such a savage, man. I really want him to fight in the UFC one day, because he's so exciting. But Levan Chokheli, though, he is coming off the winner of Vinicius de Jesus by decision, which also Kamaka is himself, but he did lose to Kyle Crutchmer, a TKO or a no contest, I guess, to Conrad on the regional scene. I'm going to be going Goiti Yamauchi. So much Bellator experience there, 20 submission wins. I mean, I can't really deny his excitement level that he brings to the cage, and I will be going with him to win the fight. Kamaka the third versus Justin Gonzales. tough fight for Kamaka, but he did get released from the UFC relatively, like, controversially to some fans. Like, a lot of fans wanted to see him still inside the UFC, but he does have the win over Chokheli. He got ground and pounded by Jonathan Pearce, and Jonathan Pearce is a bit of a savage, low-key, and the split decision loss to TJ Brown, where I think a lot of people thought Kamaka won. It was kind of a weird fight, really, but he did come out and he did beat John... Oh, sorry, I'm so wrong. I think that I'm talking about two different fighters, but anyway, he beat John De Jesus by decision in his last one, and I think he was actually favoured to lose that by Tapology voters. I'm not 100% sure, though, and now he's fighting J-Train Justin Gonzales, and I feel like it's a pretty interesting nickname, I guess. But Kamaka, he's from Hawaii, and he's going to be fighting inside Hawaii, so I feel like this is going to be a great fight. He's going to have the home crowd advantage. They're going to be cheering for him. He's a UFC guy, so he is pretty well known as well, especially I would say amongst some casual fans. But Justin Gonzales most recently lost to Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico is an absolute savage, and Justin Gonzales went all 3 rounds, so I can respect that. But the wins on his record are pretty good. He does actually have... Oh, he's actually the guy that beat Zach Zane. Oh my god. Okay, now I can make the link. But I'm going to be going with Kamaka to win the fight by decision, man. It's such a close fight, but I think Kamaka is good enough to kind of squeak it out. Lance Gibson Jr. versus Nainoa Dung. I'm going to be going Lance Gibson Jr. here, sorry. I think that he's the guy that's probably been favoured to win by the Bellator guys. But Nainoa Dung is from Hawaii. He's a very young guy from Hawaii. He has fought in Bellator before. Couple of losses though to Zach Zane. Okay, so Zach Zane has fought in Bellator before. Anyway, lost to Charlie Campbell. It's 1-1 at the time. Like, man, like Lance Gibson Jr., man, he's 5-0. He's got good wins on his record, like very good wins on his record. You know what? Especially for an inexperienced guy, I think that he's just gonna be able to get the win over this one here. I'm going with Gibson Jr. to beat Dung, who was from Hawaii, is fighting in Hawaii, but I just can't really trust that too much. You know what I mean? Janae Harding, she's from Australia. I think she was born in New Zealand. How could I not pick someone born in New Zealand? Janae Harding. Mostly she did lose to Liam McCourt, and that loss hasn't really aged like supremely well. But she did has good wins, and I guess like somewhat respectable wins on her record. Like Marina Mokatina headlining the PFL card in a few weeks' time, which is pretty crazy. And Diana Silva. I don't really know anything about Diana Silva really, but I'm just going to be picking Janae Harding to win the fight, so let's go Janae Harding, I guess, by decision. Moving on, we've got Ilima-Lei McFarlane taking on Justine Kish. Justine Kish, obviously, is from the UFC. She most recently did fight in Bellator against Deanna Bennett, and I did pick Deanna Bennett to win that fight by decision, and Deanna Bennett did win the fight by decision only 3 weeks ago, but she lost a split decision to Tracy Cortez, got submitted by Sabina Marzo, and Sabina Marzo is actually relatively good prospect, I guess. Beat Lucy Pedalova, but lost to Ji-Yeon Kim by split decision. Ilima-Lei McFarlane, this is a bounce back fight for her, really. She lost to Juliana Velasquez, who was also undefeated at the time, but she did beat Kate Jackson a couple of years ago, and since then has been beating relatively good competition in Bellator. She is both girls are pretty old for the women's flyweight division, but I think McFarlane is probably the one to get the win here. Justine Kish unfortunately hasn't really proven herself in Bellator so far. Speaking of, we've got the bantamweight tournament going on right now, which I think is pretty exciting. We've got Kyoji Horiguchi versus Patchy Mitch to start it off, and Kyoji Horiguchi made his Bellator, I guess, like debut or like Bellator return for the belt against Sergio Pettis, and he was winning that whole fight until he got spinning back fist and KO'd, but that fight was only 3 months ago, so I don't know if he's really made like a full recovery for that one, but hopefully he has. He does have the KO win over Kai Asakura, and a win over Kai Asakura is always very, very like respectable, but he has lost Kai Asakura himself as well, worth noting. But he has been in Bellator before, beat Darion Caldwell. He's been kind of bouncing in and out of the rise, and to beat the UFC guy Ben Nguyen. Patchy Mitch, on the other hand, has 1 loss to Juan Archuleta, who was also in this tournament as well, and is fighting later in the night. But he beat Albert Morales, and he beat James Gallagher, who is, I think James Gallagher's the McGregor wannabe. But anyway, I'm picking Horiguchi. Horiguchi's just so good, man. He's going to have a big reach and height disadvantage, but I still think he's going to be able to utilize like his skill set to get on the inside of Patrick Mix and kind of do what he wants to do. In that fight, Raufeon Stots versus Juan Archuleta. This is fighting for the Bellator bantamweight interim title because Sergio Pettis is Sergio Pettis is unable to fight. He's unable to defend his belt. Raufeon Stots, as you guys don't know, he is Maravashvili's son, because Maraya sunned him on Ring of Combat 59 with Dana White in attendance, and since then Maraya pretty much has gone on a decent run in the UFC. And Raufeon Stots has gone on a decent run in LFA and also in Bellator with a good win over Magomedov in his last one. I think he's going to be able to continue that win streak over Juan Archuleta, who was 3-2 in his last 5, which means he was 22-1 at one point, which is absolutely insane. But I'm going with Raufeon Stots by decision. He's got a great wrestling background. He does have good wrestling himself. Unfortunately, he's never made it into the UFC, and he probably will never will fight in the UFC because he's so committed to Bellator now. But it is what it is. Juan Archuleta lost to Patricio Pitbull, which isn't really like that disrespectful of a loss, but he did recently lose to Sergio Pettis, who is now the champion as well. So I mean, that's not a really bad loss to have. And on the main event, Cris Cyborg versus Arlene Belncowe II. Cris Cyborg is going to knock out Arlene Belncowe. I know she submitted her in the first fight about a year and a half ago, but since then she's knocked out Leslie Smith and she knocked out Sneak Kavanagh. Bellator really just does not have what's the word I'm trying to say? Like the level of competition for Cris Cyborg, man. I feel like, but the problem is Cris Cyborg, like, she has to fight at 145. She can't really make 135 anymore, so there's not really anyone for Cris Cyborg to fight. She's just going to keep building up her name at 145, and she's going to knock out Arlene Belncowe. I don't think Arlene Belncowe is going to have made any improvements that are going to give Cris Cyborg any problems in this fight. Cris Cyborg by KO. That's it, Cris Cyborg by KO. I really believe that. So that's my picks for Bellator 279.